So in this video, what we are going to do is to discuss the correlation analysis. As I have told you that the research that I've selected is based on the anticipated regret, risk aversion, and marketing strategies that are the three independent variables, and we are trying to check their impact on buying behavior, that is the dependent variable, and the buying behavior of the university students. So the data that has been used is based off of this questionnaire, which comprises of 5 questions for each component, each variable, and the last one has 4 questions. So the trick is to get this data into the SPSS window, and I have done that in the previous video, so you can check them out and you will know how to enter all this data, how to label these parts, and then come up with the proper techniques to transform the data into these individual variables that can be used for correlation analysis. So you can see that each variable has 5 questions, but it would be quite difficult to develop a correlation table that would be good enough to explain the relationship between these individual independent variables. So what there is a good idea, there is one good technique in which you can actually combine all the questions relating to one particular variable. So let me show you how we can do that. So let's say we can pick this risk aversion variable which has 5 questions. How we can transform these 5 questions is something that is interesting and very important for us to conduct correlation. Otherwise, what we'll be doing is to get all of these 19 questions, and this will create a huge mess by developing a huge table and showing the correlation results of each question against the other one. So a better idea is to develop such components for each variable. So let's say I will tell you how I developed this risk aversion one, and you will understand the process very easily. So we have 5 questions that represent risk aversion, RA1 to RA5. How I want to transform this into one particular variable. So I go to transform, then compute variable, and here I just write down RAA just for the sake of an example, and I'll just remove this so that you have a better idea. So we choose these brackets, and as we move to the portion with risk aversion, the first question for risk aversion is over here, and then I press plus, then again risk aversion second question, the third one, the fourth one, and the fifth one. They're all being added together. Again, I like to highlight that when we add all of these values, so each of them lie on a scale of 1 to 5. So probably you get a maximum lowest value of 5, and the maximum value would be to 25 based on the respondents answers. So we do not want to exaggerate or overstate our data so much. So what we do is take an average. So basically for 5 values, average would be to divide it by 5, and this is how we have transformed this one variable which comprised of 5 questionnaire items questions for risk aversion, and we are now able to see a new variable that has been formed over here, and it comprises of the 5 questions set for risk aversion. So this is how I did all these variables for the rest of the questionnaire, and these are the three independent variables that I wanted to check, and this is the dependent one. So I think I have explained it properly to you, the process of transforming the variables. Now we have the final 4 variables over here. What we need to do is run a correlation analysis and try to see whether there is some sort of correlation between the data or not. So we go to analyze, we go to correlate, and then we click bivariate. So over here we earlier we would have wanted to select all the questions, like all the 18 19 questions, and it would have created a huge mess. So we will just avoid that by just going to the main variables that we have developed, and by pressing shift you select all of them, and these are the variables that are going to be viewed. Now we select this Pearson and two-tilt test, and then we just click OK to get our correlation table. So as you know that correlation tells us the degree of association or the strength of a relationship that exists between variables. Normally what we do is we interpret this table by watching or observing this diagonal. So the diagonal represents anticipated regret against itself has 100% correlation. Similarly, marketing strategies against itself has 100% correlation. risk aversion has along with itself the same amount, and buying behavior has 100%. So what we do is we normally focus on the area below the diagonal or either above the diagonal, because they both represent the same information. Because see, a risk aversion with anticipated regret is 0.607, and similarly the same thing is being shown over here. So this is just a repetition of this side, values are just being repeated over here. So rather than doing that, we just analyze this data. So while doing your interpretation, when we go to the file, what we have done is, rather than going again and again with this interpretation, we have to just analyze that there is some correlation between anticipated regret and risk aversion of 0.607. So that is what is being shown over here. There is a correlation of 0.224 between anticipated regret and marketing strategies. Again, this part is covered. Then we say there is a correlation of 0.865 between marketing strategies and risk aversion, that is being shown over here. Similarly, 0.206 between anticipated regret and um, marketing strategies, again shown over here. So the next part shows us the number of participants, that were 300, and this part is the significance level, so it should always be below 0.05. That shows us significant results. In all these cases they are significant because they are below 0.05. In one case, probably this one, it is a bit higher, so we can check out that, and that might not be leading to a significant result. So this is the way you interpret these results, and normally you get 2 statics for a degree of significance of around 0.001, which is very high, and 1 static for 0.05. So this is the correlation analysis that is done, and this is quite useful for running other tests like regression analysis. Before running regression, one of its underlying assumption is to run a correlation test. These correlation results should be within the range of above 0.30, which shows good enough correlation. It should not be too much correlation, because that will lead to the problem of multicollinearity, as you can see, and then that would be causing issues for your data. The next step we take is to go for the regression analysis, and again we have the composite variables. We go to analyze regression, then linear regression. We put the dependent variable in the dependent box and the rest of the independent variables in the independent section. We select these values. If you want to add something else according to your needs, for the time being I think I'm okay, and we just press OK, and we get few tables like this. So the model summary indicates that the 3 independent variables, marketing strategies, risk aversion, and anticipated regret, has 43% ability to predict the changes that are brought about in the buying behavior of the university students. In social sciences, normally 30% is good enough. So in this case, it is a good value to get 43%. The ANOVA table shows that the model is fit and it is appropriate. And another interesting thing is the regression value. This 43% comes by dividing this 25 by 136. In this case, you can get this data and information. The final important table is this coefficients table, where we review the standardized coefficients, and we make sure that these significance values are below 0.05, which indicates that these three are all having significant relationship with the buying behavior of the students. Now we have to see which one is the one that has the most impact. So the important thing over here would be that marketing strategies has a beta of 0.33, meaning that any slight change in marketing strategy would bring about a huge change in the buying behavior of the students. So if the company chooses to spend more on its advertising or marketing strategies that would enhance the buying behavior or increase the chances of the student buying those products. So the first important variable would be marketing strategies. The next important is the anticipated regret. So companies and they must think about this and make sure that the students that buy certain products should not be regretting it later on. So they have to focus on the quality of the product a lot. And similarly, the risk aversion is having a negative relationship, but it is significant again. So this would be the way that the companies should prioritize, first on marketing strategies, then on anticipated regret, and finally on risk aversion. And there are obviously several other variables that have not been covered by this 43%. Like 57% of the data is still unknown that influences the buying behavior of the students. So that is a very good thing that you can recommend to the future researchers, that they can choose several other variables along with these variables to increase this R square value. That would indicate that a lot of buying behavior is being explained, and it could be because of the pocket money that the students have, the quality of the product, the circumstances that they are in, the environment, the often the everything that is happening around them could determine their buying behavior. So that's how we analyze and interpret this data. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Subscribe to my channel, please share it with your friends, and make sure you subscribe and click the notification button so you know about my latest videos, and ask me any questions you want. I'll make sure that I upload all these files online along with my video. So do see the description section. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.